With that being said, there's a big UFC fight this coming Saturday night. Israel Adesanya headlining against Alex Pereira. And our friend Dustin Poirier is in tough with Michael Chandler from Nashville. Ooh, these two great fights. The whole card is stacked per usual. But more importantly, Teddy, you're going to be working the event. Rob and I will be in attendance at the event. Looking forward to meeting all the fans and seeing all the people there. But let's just touch on those two fights real quick. I know we haven't prepared the way you would normally do with 52 pages of notes. But what are you looking for in that Chandler-Poirier fight? And what does Dustin have to do to get the win?
Well, we'll handle let's handle the Poirier fight first with Chandler. Tough fight, great fight. It might be that card is loaded. Also, we talk about our friend Dustin, and he's coming to the foundation this dinner, and I appreciate the hell out of him for doing that. And people are looking forward to meeting him. But let's not forget, Adesanya's our friend too, and he's been on this show, and he's special too, and he's in a tough fight. It's a loaded card, but Poirier and Chandler it's like going to the 4th of July. I mean, you're going to get fireworks. I mean, really, you're not going to the 4th of July, well, you're going there to get hot dogs, hamburgers, don't get me wrong, I get it. But you're not going there at night to have a quiet, uncolorful night. You're going there to see the skies get lit up and a lot of noise with the banging of the fireworks. And that's what you're going to see if you're going for Poirier and Chandler. These guys don't waste time introducing themselves to you. They're both tremendous offensive forces. It's a tough fight. It's a tough fight for both guys. Poirier is one of the best finishers in the sport. He gets you hurt. He knows how to get rid of you. Again, Chandler comes out of the shoot fast. He only knows one gear, first gear, go get you. I think he's gotten better, though. I think he's learned. He's been in with nothing but monsters, just like Poirier. Look at these guys' resume. They deserve the best of the best because they fought the best of the best. That's why they're so good. They fought nothing but top guys. And Chandler only came over to the UFC, 2 years ago? And he fought nothing but, first he fought Godzilla, then King Kong, and then he fought the Wolfman, and then you know what I mean? He fights everybody. And like I said, Poirier on his way up, the same thing. He earned his way. So these guys they're very similar in their makeups that way. Chandler's known as a gunslinger. If you could get him to clip off his revolver, empty his revolver, you got his shot. You avoid some of those shots early, you got his shot. But I think he's gotten better. I think he's learned from these tough fights. I think that he's learned to be able to go beyond that first gear, that there is a second, a third, or fourth gear, and that his experience, the confidence from those experiences is teaching him that you got to be able to also be there after your initial frontal attack. And I really think that makes him more dangerous than ever. I'm sure Poirier realizes that. Again, both guys are going to look to hurt each other with, they do a lot of striking. They're also, Dustin's tremendous on the mat. They're both tremendous in all dimensions of that cage. I don't hide it, either do you. We're rooting for Poirier. We have all the respect in the world for both guys. They're both gladiators, but we're rooting for Poirier. It should be a tremendous explosion of entertainment and of combat and of teaching. These guys teach you how to behave like warriors. When you say, "Oh, I want to be a warrior," well, yeah, do you really? It can hurt. It can hurt to be a warrior. And if you really want to understand what a warrior is, watch these guys. Not just in how they fight, but how they behave. how they behave, their conduct inside when that conduct is called on. So that's that one. Adesanya, wow.
He's in real tough against the guy who's beat him in kickboxing, Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira, interestingly enough, as an MMA fighter, is only 6-1. He's only had 7 fights. He lost his first fight by rear naked choke submission, and then he stopped every single opponent except for Bruno Silva in the UFC. He won by unanimous decision, but he's KO'd every single opponent that he's beaten, and he has a KO over Izzy. So this is very interesting matchup here. Man, I'm looking forward to this one. What are you looking for?
Yeah, listen, the KO over Izzy was a while back. It was before Izzy got to the UFC. It was in kickboxing. 2 different sports. Both of them are their strengths, both of them, Pereira and Adesanya, is striking. Adesanya's done a magnificent job learning how to escape takedowns and survive on the mat, and do even more than survive on the mat. But he's really invested himself in being dimensional in all areas, all facets of the cage. Pereira, as you said, big puncher, has a knockout win in kickboxing over Adesanya. So you worry about the mental edge. Does that give, because 75% of this is mental, I always say that, does that give Pereira an edge that he's got to win over him and a knockout win over him? It potentially could. I don't think it does with Adesanya. He's special. He's very together mentally. He's very cerebral. And he knows that that's a different time. He knows that, where he is now. And he understands the mistakes he made. And I think he's able to kind of, clear the board of that. Like erase the blackboard of that. And I think Adesanya would be a good golfer, where you hit a shot into the woods, and then, the next shot, you got to forget about that. You got to hit it on the green. I think Adesanya has that ability to put that aside and maybe even use it for him, where he's been forewarned now, where maybe he wasn't quite as aware of that threat of that dimension, the danger of that dimension of Pereira, in that area where he's that good with the striking, or obviously he understood how good he was, but he's more aware now of what to look for. Here's where it could take a little bit of a left-hand turn. Both guys, their strengths undoubtedly striking. Where is it possible that now Adesanya, he beat you with striking, he beat you with his legs, he beat you with his versatility, he beat you with his athleticism, his creativeness. He's like Bruce Lee in there sometimes. He makes it up as he goes along. He walks to the beat of his own drummer. Pereira is more conventional with the boxing. A little bit more of, what is supposed to be, if you will, of what you would expect. Again, just more standard in the boxing in that way. So that is one place where I think Adesanya will take it. He's got great legs. He'll try to give angles to Pereira and not give him a chance to unload what he unloaded the time that he knocked out Adesanya, where he could be set on his feet in front of you. He'll probably try to give angles, change distance, like Bivol does. Keep him off balance. Don't let him be the puncher. You can't be a puncher if you're not set. You can't be that destructive banger if your feet aren't set. So Adesanya has great wheels. Great wheels. I mean, really, he can float. I think he's going to float a little bit. Use that. Mix it up. Keep him off balance. But here's what I was alluding to, maybe the little curve. Does he maybe, and this is crazy, does he maybe take him to the floor does he maybe take him to the floor, even though we know both these guys' strengths are standing? But Adesanya has improved in that area to the point where he's a very cerebral guy. His Eugene, his trainer, very smart, where maybe they say, let's mix it up and go and do what he don't expect. Go to the floor a little bit, stay away from the one place he can beat us. The one place he can beat him, Ken, is standing. So maybe he takes it to the floor, which you would never expect in an Adesanya fight. Never. You'd expect him to survive the floor, expect him to be like those great quarterbacks in the NFL that escape the pocket and escape the sack because they have escapability, and Adesanya has escapability. You'd never think that you'd see him purposely want to go to the floor. I'm saying that maybe that's a thought in this fight plan for them in such an important fight for both fighters. And obviously for Adesanya in being able to continue to be the champion and continue to be the force he's been at middleweight. You know, the premier guy at middleweight. His only loss in the UFC is when he went up to light heavyweight, and he fought a hell of a fighter there, Blachowicz, I think. And the guy,
that's right.
Not only was Blachowicz too strong on the mat, but he was smart. He was good. He was good with striking. He was good on the floor.
Fought a perfect fight.
He fought a perfect fight, and at the end, he got the geography he needed more than Adesanya did on the mat, and used his physicality, his physical advantages of strength that way. So I'll be at the Garden covering it for ESPN with the great Charlie Monahan, the director producer of all things UFC with ESPN, and I look forward to the whole card. I just broke down those two fights, but the whole card is magnificent. It's up to snuff of what you expect from UFC. Dana White, it's his way or the highway. All competitive fights, all tough fights. You go on some of these cards in boxing, unfortunately. I know I've said it before and before and before. I say it again. Maybe somebody will get wise to it. And the undercard is garbage. It's a joke. They're just building up the guys in their stable. They're building up their record with cannon fodder. With guys that shouldn't be in the ring with them. But not the case in the UFC.